Hi, my name is Jesse. I'm here with Incredible Dream at PAX Unplugged, and I'm here to talk to you about Kinfire Delve. So the one we're showcasing today is specifically Callus Lab. This is our newest addition into the Delve series. Setup for this is really simple. You have your dice for the game. You have your health die, which always starts at 10. You've got your progress coins. You have your big baddie, in this case it's Callus, your exhaust deck, your well deck, and your characters. The characters that come with Callus are going to be Roland and Valora. Roland is a very heavy hitter, big melee. Valora is all of your ranged attacks, and she gives range boosts to all of her compatriots when you fight. Each character also gets a special lantern card. The lantern cards are designed to be a really heavy one hit depending on the character. They each do something different, but you can't use them all the time. You have to charge your lantern through the dice rolls that you have. So a sample of gameplay is going to be as follows. My advice for all players is to read all of the cards first. For Callus, when you're setting up, place 10 progress on Callus at the start of the game. At any point, if Callus loses these progress, you lose the game. So he starts with 10. We are now going to fill Callus's well, which comes from the well deck. In order to fill the well, you put one card from on every side of him, my apologies. And then read the effects, because some things matter as they come out. For example, Hungry Chest. When this challenge enters play, move one progress from every other card on it. That means Callus is already down to 9. Extraction Room. If failed, remove one progress from Callus plus one extra progress for each husk in play. But if you complete it, you get to delve 3 and add 2 progress to Callus. Delve, you'll notice in the victory area, there might be a number. Delving is how you make your way through the monster deck successfully without facing every single monster in the room. A sample turn will go as follows. Roland has his hand in front of him. In this case, we're just going to use Meteor Throw. This card is red and blue, which means it can be applied to any red or blue card on the table. In this case, we're going to try to go for Crystal Brute. This is a combat, so we need to pay attention to the card. If you fail a combat, you discard it without suffering its penalty, but that also means you don't get the Delve reward as well. So 3 on does not make 8. We're 5 short. What's going to happen is Roland is going to ask his compatriots for assistance. In this case, Valora has her solid shot out. It is also a red, so she can lend assist with the +3. The number you see at the top of the card is going to be the primary action if it was your turn. Any number and effects at the bottom of the card are going to be the bonus you're giving to your comrades. So in this case, she's giving +3. So the 3 that Roland had for Meteor Throw becomes 6 on an 8. Now, that's clearly not enough to make an 8, so the next thing we do is roll. Rolling, we are looking for do one of 2 things. We're looking to hopefully get 2 more red to give us +2 on our attack, and we're also hoping for a light and not a shadow. In this case, based on the cards that are out in play, if we roll a shadow, there's no detriment, but usually this can affect your health, the amount of cards in your hands, and more. Light is what's going to allow you to charge that lantern card we talked about, which will give you that additional boost throughout the game. So we're going to roll and see what Roland gets. In this case, we've got a light, which means we can charge the lantern, and only 1 red. It's not the end of the world. We put 1 progress on the Crystal Brute. However, because we failed, we suffer 2. We also bring in Roland's play. We fail the combat, it gets discarded, which is a small benefit, but again, we lose the delve, and we replace it. Play continues like this until the well is dry. So I'm going to flip this over to act as if the discard or the draw deck is empty. If there is nothing left to replenish the well, we move on to the gauntlet, and that means all penalties and all chits disappear. All obstacles, traps, creatures, and puzzles disappear. Callus reveals his true self, and the gauntlet comes forward. Every box of Delve comes with 1 boss, but the 1 boss will always have 3 difficulty. And with each difficulty, 3 different tactics. So it's never quite the same game, it's always something different. Once again, I remind everyone at this point to read the cards. You might think that this isn't too bad because he's only 20, but if you read it, it says +5 difficulty for every face-up gauntlet card. That means that this guy, he's at a +40 right now. If we read around the gauntlet cards, we see how they all affect him and affect our play. We're so used to rolling to get those up to +3 modifiers on our attacks. But if you go after Combat 3, when attempting this challenge, don't roll. That means you are only depending on your action cards and the support of others to take him down. Combat 2, this challenge cannot be completed, which means you cannot fight against him. Now, there are other cards that may be able to affect him, but it depends on what you draw from the deck. This challenge cannot be discarded. So similar to how we talked about the discard challenge with the combat from Roland, this would not come into effect with him in the play. Finally, the immortality card. You cannot complete Callus's challenge and win the game. So, you might think this is a stalemate, but that's not the case. In this case, we're going to act as if we've defeated Combat 0001, and I'm going to flip it over. By flipping it over, Callus is now vulnerable to all red actions. That means we can hit him with every red card we've got. But you have to remember the strategy of the game. One, he's at a 35, so it's not just 20, but also he's still immortal. Let's say you whittle him down to 2 or 3 points of his life, and you're like, I'm going to go for that immortality and get him. That's great, but when you flip it over, a new action comes into play. When rolling, if none of the 3 skill dice match the challenge's color, turn this card face up. That means if we go after him for that final 3 points and we can't get it fresh with our card, and if we're depending on these dice, if I roll the dice looking for red, for example, and we'll just pretend that I didn't get a red, his immortality returns, and you have to fight that all over again. The game wins when you finally take Scorn down and you've defeated his well and his gauntlet.